to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. And I kind of want to just get another quick video up talking about some of the things that Tiki Barber had to say about his former team with the New York Giants, some of the reasons why he left the team, and some of the things that he had to say about Saquon Barkley, who we hope is the future Tiki Barber. And, I'll tell you guys right now, Tiki Barber was one of my favorite New York Giants of all time. As a matter of fact, I named my dog after Tiki Barber before he did some of the things he did, with the football team on his way out. Some of the things he said about Tom Coughlin, some of the things he said about Eli Manning. Now, I always realized that it was Tiki's aspiration and job, to be a member of the media. And with that came saying things that were on his mind regarding the New York Giants. Of course, that was the opinion that most people wanted to hear, being that he was freshly retired from the football team, and he was very outspoken about what he thought about Eli Manning and about what he thought about Tom Coughlin as a football coach. And a lot of people think that Tom Coughlin had a lot to do with the reason that Tiki Barber retired. Now, I never thought that that was the main reason or the only reason, but it was definitely part of the reason. And Tiki Barber kind of said that today. He also went on to talk about Saquon Barkley, and the most ironic thing about Saquon Barkley and some of the things that Tiki Barber has to say about him was Tiki Barber was one of the first people I thought about when the New York Giants drafted Saquon Barkley, because like it or not, even for the people that, despise Tiki Barber for some of the things that he did, he's the greatest New York Giants running back of all time, and it's not even very close. We're going to get into the exact statistics, but he's the all-time leading rusher. He's the all-time, leader in terms of scrimmage yards. He had the best individual seasons at the running back position. From 2004 to 2006 specifically, due in large part to Tom Coughlin, who fixed his fumbling woes, Tiki Barber may have very well been the best running back in football over that 3-year stretch, and he kind of retired well at the top of his game. His last year in the league, I think he led the league in rushing, and he, or in scrimmage yards, whatever it may have been. He had a fantastic year, and of course, the Giants went on to win the Super Bowl the next year. But, when I first started YouTube, it was kind of directly after the New York Giants drafted Saquon Barkley, and one of the most common questions I received was, what does Saquon Barkley have to do to merit that pick? And, my immediate answer almost always was, well, he has to at least match what Tiki Barber did for the New York Giants, and that's not an easy feat. Tiki Barber, in my opinion, had he not retired early and had he not done some of the things he did in the media, I think would have been a Hall of Famer. And he's the greatest running back in New York Giants history and was definitely the most valuable player on that New York Giants offense for a 4 or 5 year stretch. Make no mistake about it. But I wanted to jump into some of the things that Tiki Barber had to say about why he left the Giants ultimately and what he thinks about Saquon Barkley and the future of him being the leader for this football team and some of the things that he thinks he will accomplish and he thinks he needs to accomplish in year 3 to really take that next step forward. But let's jump into some of the quotes from Tiki, the former New York Giant great. First thing I'm going to talk about is this. Tom was such a small part of it. He, here talking about why he left the New York Giants. And, of course, he was outspoken about Coughlin and how he was too hard on the players. And that's kind of the modern-day athlete. The modern-day athlete nowadays, they don't want disciplinarians. They want to be coddled to a degree, to an extent. And that was something that Tom Coughlin kind of had to learn throughout his tenure with the New York Giants. I think we all remember when Coughlin came in there, it was kind of a culture shock. Strahan even used to complain about it, how Coughlin would fine people if they weren't 5 minutes early to a meeting. He was a disciplinarian, but it's why Coughlin got the results out of the players that he did. It was effective. And that's a big reason why he got fired in Jacksonville. Players didn't like that either, and players have gotten more power throughout the years. But Coughlin's methods definitely had some success. He definitely needed to change, at least partially. They kind of had to meet in the middle, the players in Coughlin, and when they did, we saw great results. Barber said during an appearance on the Scoop B radio podcast, he was so hard on everybody, and you felt unappreciated at times. But it was so much more than that. Maybe he was the last little straw that made me walk away from the game, but physically, I was getting beat up, man. Then he went on to talk about the physical toll the game had on him. It would take me until Thursday to feel good again. I was getting massages on Monday and acupuncture. I would get the art treatment and then another massage on Thursday. And then now I'm feeling all right on Friday. Then we'd have like a walkthrough practice and then you'd get beat up again and it starts all over. And it was just getting hard. And I completely get that. It's obviously a very physical game. And when you lose the love for it and you don't think it's worth taking that punishment and you've been successful in terms of on the field and you've accumulated a fortune off of it, I completely get the reasoning as to why Tiki Barber left the game, even though he may have been at the top of it. It's very rare that a player gets to do that, even though he was young, kind of like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders left right around the same age. The issue that Giants fans had with him wasn't so much that he left, it was what he did on the way out about Tom Coughlin. Barber then later went on to say, I didn't pull up the quotes, but he later went on to say that because of his success as a football player, he got, the ability to get the opportunity to work as a broadcaster and to talk to people that, that were worth a lot of money. And he thought that he would have the opportunity to not have to take that beating and find another career that he loved that he could do in a suit and tie. And he kind of did that. Now, you could definitely argue that he was not as successful in that aspect of his life in terms of a career as he was on the football field, but he still does talk to this day about sports. So more power to him there. The only issue Giants fans have with him is what he said about the football team. This is what I wanted to pull up regarding Saquon Barkley. This is what he had to say about Barkley. If he stays with the Giants, my records have no chance. He's going to run through them. But it's interesting. It took me about 4 years to figure it out. In 2000 or so, I started to figure it out. And I remember that. Barber, I think, was drafted in 97, was kind of a platoon back. 2000, you still had Ron Dane on that team, but I think that was the first year he eclipsed 1,000 rushing yards, and then he started to take off. It's kind of the opposite of Barkley. Barkley came out shooting like right out of a gun. He led the league in scrimmage yards his first year. Last year, he kind of had to deal with some adversity due to the high ankle sprain, and he definitely saw a decrease in his production. In 2000 or so, I started to figure out. 2001, how to be consistent, how to stay healthy, and how to be a reliable contributor. Saquon had that from day one. And if you start, and if you get it, the proverbial get it from day one, and he had great success, he was Rookie of the Year. I can't remember if he led the league in rushing, but he was right up there. He led the league in scrimmage yards. I don't think he led in rushing. Then, they go on to show the statistics. Barber holds the Giants franchise record for total yards from scrimmage, just under 16,000 in a career, along with rushing yards, 10,449, and most rushing yards in a single season, 1,860 in 2005. And all those marks are going to be very hard to eclipse for Saquon Barkley. He's 2 years in. He's nowhere near that yet, obviously, which you expect. But he's going to have to remain healthy. Tiki Barber was very durable, and 15,632 scrimmage yards is nothing to sneeze at. Tiki eclipsed the 2,000-plus yards from scrimmage mark 3 times in his career, 2004 to 2006. Barkley did not get to the 2,000 last year, but he missed 3 games with a high ankle sprain, which bothered him for a good stretch of the season. Then Barber kind of went on to say, and to me, this was the most interesting part of it, what Saquon needs to do this year to really get respected by the fans and become that iconic football player that so many Giants fans want him to become. And at the end of the day, it comes down to winning. Nobody's going to remember a football player on a team that rushes for, 20,000 yards for his career if you never make the playoffs, if you never have any success. Yes, Barry Sanders never won a Super Bowl, but the Lions had some good football teams. But now going into year 3, it's like we need to win. I mean, we got this from this side of our team. We got pieces on the defensive side of the team. We have a quarterback that we all believe in, and we got a coach in Joe Judge that is no nonsense and tells it like it is. We got to start winning. And so, if I'm Saquon, in my mind, I'm saying, what are we winning? It's not like we have to build another year. And it's on him, because when you think about it, who are the leaders here? It's him. They're a young team. The New York Giants, and Nate Solder's 30 years old, but he's a tackle. Saquon's got to be that leader. And Daniel Jones has to follow, and hopefully it leads to wins. And, I completely agree with him. I mean, I said that from day one. I thought it was a negative in terms of his rookie year, but I thought Saquon Barkley was one of the leaders on the football team his rookie year, and he became the captain year 2 because of it. But at the end of the day, people don't remember leaders who don't get wins. We talk about it all the time with Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's a fan favorite, was a fantastic talent. But 15 years from now, people they'll remember Odell Beckham, but he will not be known as a leader. He will not be known as an all-time great Giant, more than likely, because of the fact that they didn't win football games, even though that may be unfair. In the end, that's what it boils down to, especially New York fans. They want to see winning. And for Saquon Barkley to take that next step forward into becoming an all-time great Giant, the Giants will have to start winning football games. And it starts year 3 for him and year 2 for Daniel Jones. There's a lot of pressure for both those guys, being that they were very early draft picks. Barkley number 2 overall, Jones number 6. They will need to start winning football games. They'll need to start winning them very soon. I'm trying to go into this year being conservative, being with the mindset of let's take it year by year. This is a team that's getting better over time. But at the end of the day, this team needs to see results before people really respect Saquon's game in New York. That's what it comes down to. We love great football players. We love great athletes, but we love them a lot more when they win football games. You know, you look at Eli Manning, fans were willing to go to bat for that guy. You look at Derek Jeter, fans were willing to go to bat for that guy because championships is what we care about. We don't care about regular season records. We care about titles. And hopefully Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones deliver that to us. And Tiki Barber knows that better than anybody. He played as a New York Giant for, about 10 years. And he saw the ups and downs. Tiki Barber never won a championship, but one thing he did see was winning. While he was here with the New York Giants, they definitely had a lot of success. They made a Super Bowl in 2000. They had a winning team 2005 and 2006. He definitely saw some success while he played for the New York Giants. Never got over the hump, though. And he's basically saying there is, Saquon's great. He's going to shatter my records if he stays healthy and remains with the Giants. But for him to become that, iconic player, we're going to start to need to start seeing him win football games. And I definitely think he can. I definitely think Daniel Jones can. I think it will happen sooner than later. It may not happen this year because the team is still young with a new coaching staff, but I think they're headed in that direction. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.